What's happening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the NBA Files. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. This is my man Everett Terry Jr.
All right.
We bring you NBA irreverency and insight that you'll get nowhere else but here. And, you know, I saw a great performance last night. Saw 57 points by the greatest player ever to play the game.
So we just
I'm joking. But I did see a great performance last night. 57 points from a man in his 15th year in the NBA. So I want to throw the question out to you. Yeah, but it still runs like a Bentley. So I'm going to throw this question out to you. Why are the Cavs 4-5?
Because you can't drop 57 points every night.
So that's the only reason. That's the only way they're going to win.
Well, they've got the oldest, slowest roster in basketball.
You said that before. What does that mean exactly? Explain to me why that matters.
They're injured. So you've got Derrick Rose, injured. Isaiah Thomas, still injured.
Okay.
You've got LeBron and Kevin Love and a whole bunch of band of merry misfits that have never accomplished anything at the NBA level.
Except won an NBA title. Jay
Crowder's never won an NBA title.
He's played in a few NBA conference finals, but that's the one person. Look,
well, I'm just throwing names of guys that are out there that have just, they're just guys. I mean, most of them rode LeBron's coattails to the finals, by the way, if you recall, I said I'd rather have Eric Bledsoe over one Mr. J.R. Smith. How's J.R. Smith lighting the world on fire? He hasn't been. Which speaks to my point.
I can't argue with you about Eric Bledsoe. I just don't see what Eric Bledsoe brings you. That's my big thing.
I like him over J.R. Smith.
Yeah, but if the Cavs are winning or losing because of J.R. Smith, then there's a bigger issue at hand.
Well, right now they're not doing either because of J.R. Smith.
How much of the look? I agree with you to an extent that they do need a change. Every team has a change. I wrote this down. Jordan, they changed Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman. You look at the Lakers every year they won, they made a change. Every year to compete, you need to make a change. The problem though is they can't really see where they are until Isaiah Thomas gets back. They can't really get a gauge for what they're going to be doing until you have your full roster in place. They just lost Tristan Thompson.
And he's been an Iron Man. I don't think he's missed a game in his career.
Well, he could use a break because he's looking a little bit slow out there. Well, he's looking a little bit deliberate out there.
Too much boo loving. That's probably what it is, man.
Is it always going to be Kardashians? Is it always going to be about the Kardashians?
That's who he's connected to. I mean, he didn't look this bad when he wasn't with a Kardashian. I'm just calling SPAC, speed's a speed.
And I'm confused as the sirens come by to take away the beating that I'm about to apply on you. Get ready for the beating that I'm about to apply on you. I'm confused at what their core is. That's where I think the bigger issue is. Who are your core players? Who are you building around?
LeBron.
Here we go. LeBron.
No. Kevin Love, and then LeBron.
So you're putting Kevin Love in that core?
Well, Kevin Love has to be in that core. He's the only
other. Does he?
He's the only other player on that team that gives you anything. Dwayne Wade is barely a shell of himself, averaging like 8 or 9 points a game. He's done. He's cooked like grits. He's finished. You got a whole bunch of these guys that aren't giving you much of anything. And the problem
could it just be early?
Even if you add Isaiah Thomas, right? The problem is, I think they're taking the East too lightly. And I think LeBron sees it. He's not too worried about it. But as you've said to yourself, winning is a habit.
Yes,
and
as I said to myself.
As you've said to yourself. Listen, and the problem is when you look at this team, you see these guys coming out every day. They're giving minimal effort. They're playing zero defense. What, they give up 122 to the Wizards?
They're playing no defense.
Jesus.
Right now.
They couldn't stop me and you from out there running around.
Listen, couldn't stop me. I'm nice with it.
Be whatever it is that you want to be.
I'm nice with it.
At the end of the day, these guys aren't playing good, focused effort basketball. And I think they, in their mind, know that as long as they make the playoffs and LeBron is healthy, they can probably get through the East, because without Gordon Hayward, while the Celtics are winning, nobody takes them serious. We see what the Wizards are.
Celtics had a big win last night.
We're going to come to that. Listen, the Sixers are still up and coming. They're not there yet. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The hell are we talking about the Sixers in playoffs?
I'm just talking about teams that are actually over 500 in the East that will probably make the playoffs. They are. We haven't said that in 5 years. Listen, the point I'm making is you've got all these teams that are hovering around. Even Indiana, nobody's afraid of Indiana because it's Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner. It's like there's no star there. So, I mean, you look at what they have, and as long as they've got LeBron, he's the king of the East, and that's fine. But they're not beating anybody in the West. I don't even have them as good as a 5-6 seed if they were in the West. They're not better than anybody in the West that's going to be competing for a title.
So you're putting this slow start on LeBron. And
I'm putting it on the fact that the guys just aren't taking a focused effort towards winning. They think that it's going to come easy. And the problem is, like you said, if they drag that in and it goes a little longer than expected and they start taking bad losses to teams, remember, styles make fights. And if they get the wrong matchup early in the playoffs, there's a chance maybe Washington turns it up and turns it on. Maybe Giannis has a big second half and they make a trade at the deadline that puts them over the top. I mean, I think the Bucks are the only team that can realistically beat them.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team in the Eastern Conference that can beat LeBron. And I know I should say the Cavaliers, but it's really about LeBron.
Right.
And I put a lot of the slow start on him, mainly because there's no reason to sprint when you're running a marathon.
Okay.
You get a good pace, and then in the end, you run it up a notch. And this premise that athletes don't kick it up or don't have another level or another gear is not true. They had that. So while I agree with the premise that you're putting out there, I disagree with your conclusion. But I definitely feel that there is a malaise to them right now. Like they're taking a while to get going. I don't think that they're behind the 8 ball as much as people believe they are. They're 4-5 for crying out loud. Philly's 5-4, ready to throw a celebration. Expectations dictate perception. So the perception is that they're behind. They've lost the teams. The bottom line is teams circle playing LeBron. LeBron probably doesn't even know what month it is. But teams circle the date when they play him. So they'll get it together. I'm not discouraged about them. I'm excited to see that he can drop 57 points in October on a bad wheel against what was supposed to be a playoff caliber team, which we're going to get to in a second. I'm excited about that. I think Dwayne Wade will be fine. As far as J.R. Smith, who cares? We won't. I love J.R. Smith. That's why you always take those shots at him, because I do like J.R. Smith. But I'm not concerned about it at all. And the bigger thing is they're going to make a move. They're going to make a move. They always do.
How many more moves do they need to make?
As many as it takes.
Isn't
as
good
many
enough.
as it takes.
He's not winning another title in Cleveland.
They've been to 4 straight NBA Finals.
They're not winning another title in Cleveland.
How do you know that? It's 9 games in.
Listen, if the Golden State Warriors, their starting 5 all get injured on the same day before the playoffs start, they've got a chance.
Didn't they already beat the Golden State Warriors?
3 years ago.
Okay.
And this is not the same team. They didn't have Durant. They do now. They're not beating them again.
They can win. Anything can happen going forward. What you want to do is you want to be prepared to take advantage of an opportunity. They'll make a change.
They don't have the talent. They're old and they're slow. Dwayne Wade 3 years ago was way better than Dwayne Wade now.
But they're not built around Dwayne Wade. They're
You're
built
missing
around
my
LeBron.
point. They went and got Dwayne Wade because he was supposed to help elevate his game to get them where they need to be.
I think they added Dwayne Wade because it wouldn't hurt them. I don't think they looked at it as it would help them.
He ain't helping them.
Well, but he's not hurting them, and I don't. I get what you're saying, that the team is old and slow, but the team will be changed. The core piece, you add a Kyrie Irving, who I said they needed to get rid of. They recognize that. Kyrie, God bless him.
They brought in Jay Crowder and Isaiah Thomas.
But right now the trade is Jay Crowder. That's it. Because
Thomas
IT is
hurt.
Injured. So when you bring him back, you'll get a better gauge for where they are. The big thing, though, is I don't recognize a core for them. That leads me to believe they're going to be making a major change. And I'm fine with that.
Who's the move? That's all I'm asking.
It doesn't matter.
Who do they trade?
It doesn't matter. They have salaries. They have dead salaries. They have good salaries. They've got good players. They can make a trade. And it doesn't matter. Look, let me just put it this way. Going into last year, if I said Kyrie Irving's going to be off for the Cavs, you would have said I'm crazy. Right? You would have said I'm crazy.
I'd have said I could see it, but yeah, not likely.
And 2 years ago, if I said Kevin Durant's going to, before the start of the season,
yeah, I would have believed that.
Exactly. So things change as the year goes on. And when your your best piece is the best player in the game, you'll always find somebody ready to play.
Unless he says, hey, listen, no matter what happens, I'm not re-upping and I'm out, which is what the rumors are now.
That's fine.
He leaves Cleveland again at this point. You're not going to invest giving up that top pick from Brooklyn for a 1-year rental on a guy who's already made it clear he's probably going to leave.
That's a great point. But if you're a team, and I'm just throwing this name out, I'm not saying they're going to take him, but it's the name that's rumored the most. If you're DeMarcus Cousins and you let Pelicans management know you're going to move on and they need to get what they can for you, then it opens the door for best serviceable player. You have a DeMarcus Cousins, you can't keep a Tristan Thompson and a Kevin Love, so you may make that move. That's just a move to throw out there. Let's say Anthony Davis. Not saying this is the move that's going to happen, but I'm just throwing analogies out there. I'm throwing possibilities out there. Let's say Anthony Davis comes to them and says, I want out. So, and you don't want to keep Anthony Davis in the Western Conference, and you want to get the most you can for him. So they have players, they have salaries, they have guys they can move. The big thing going forward is for them to identify where they are as a team, and the only way to do that is with Isaiah Thomas. Now, moving on to a player that continues to produce, to a player that continues to be sporadic. How disappointing has John Wall been?
Well, the first 3 games he was great. The last 3 games not so much. I mean,
the season stopped At 3 games, though, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
listen, like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm not going to sit here and say John Wall's killing us because we're 7 games in and he's not looking as dominant as he should. If we're going to sit here and give LeBron a pass, we're absolutely going to give John Wall a pass.
He hasn't earned one, though.
Come on.
He hasn't earned. No. Seriously, he's had. They've played 8 games. He's had 4 double-doubles, right? And this is coming from a John Wall fan, so maybe I'm a bit harder on him than most. But at some point, the numbers don't matter anymore. On the surface, he's been good, but the numbers don't matter anymore. That team needs to be better. Those players need to be better. You shouldn't come in here and say Bradley Beal played well.
How much of that is Scott Brooks though? Because he's a guy who couldn't get OKC over.
So then he never should have let them hire him.
That's fair.
He should have been vocal about Mark Jackson. There's this premise. There's this notion.
I think they did it because they thought they had a chance of getting Durant by bringing back Scott Brooks because Durant had a love for Scott Brooks and we all know that he was tied to Washington multiple times in his free agency. So I thought that's why they actually went and got him because they might be able to use it.
Then Ernie Grunfeld needs to be sitting on the unemployment line because that if he believed that by bringing in Scott Brooks it would help him get a Kevin Durant, when Kevin Durant, how can I say this and not look like it's personal? When Kevin Durant is one of those type of players where you can always, it was always a question about mental fortitude.
What's that got to do with his coach?
Because if he's coming, why would he want to come home and carry the pressure of being home? There's no harder place to carry the burden than being home. That's why what LeBron does is so fantastic. Kevin Durant said the reason why he didn't want to go to Washington is because he didn't want to be home. So if you're Ernie Grunfeld, that's what you're resting your laurels on, you should be fired. John Wall should have been vocal from the door. He should have said he wanted Mark Jackson. I know there's issues behind the scene with Mark Jackson. So what? He should have said he wanted Mark Jackson. Wanted a better coach. If it's if it's Scotty Brooks. To me, it stops with John Wall, though. You have to be a champion. And I talked about this, flipping sports. I talked about this in the final possession with Cam Newton. You don't just get to walk on the field and win. You don't get to walk on the court and win. You've got to win in the weight room. You've got to win in the film room. You've got to win off the court. You got to hold guys accountable. You got to make guys' seats uncomfortable. You got to make their butts clench when you come in the room like, I can't stand this dude. John Wall isn't doing that. It's too much buddy-buddy friendship going on. Okay. There should be more fire out of him. And there should be more, I'm out on the Wizards. I'm done on the Wizards. Okay. I've been singing their praise for the last 3 years, and they consistently have let me down. I'm out on the Wizards. I'm out on them.
You can be out on them. I mean, listen, they're still with the
still
injured Celtics, the second best team in the East.
Who?
The Wizards.
Right now, I take the Indiana Pacers over the Wizards.
Right
now, I take the started out
who you can't stand.
I was hard on Victor.
And they're doing it without Miles Turner, who just came back after not playing a single game this year. Stop it. Domantas Sabonis, who they got from OKC, is actually playing like a typical European, but actually a big guy that can get down there and defend.
Nate McMillan's still a better coach.
I like Nate McMillan. I've always liked him. I've liked him since the Sonics,
Seattle,
Portland, all that. Yeah,
exactly.
He's a good coach.
So that's my point. I would take them over Washington. I'm out on Washington, man. They had a chance last year to seize the moment, and then they're talking about how the Cavaliers I
heard that.
And remember, but no, I heard that during the season. And I brought it to the show I forget what episode it was, and we talked about that. And you called me crazy, called me a glue sniffer. And I told you that was the logic out there, that the Cavaliers knew they could beat the Celtics taking off their house shoes. They knew they could beat the Celtics, but they knew they would struggle with the Wizards. But now ain't the time for the Wizards to say that. No. That was last year. Let's be focused on, and they're not. John Wall gets hurt again, sprained shoulder.
My thing is, this Cavs team is a much more beatable team than last year's Cavs team.
But who cares? If you're the Wizards, you lost a Game 7. Why do you give a rat's ass about what was happening at this point in time?
I don't know.
Why do you care? Like you need to have some sort of chutzpah about you going into this. Like, this needs to be your make or break year. You need to have a sense of urgency, and they don't have it.
Okay.
They don't have it.
I think now they're a team that's a piece away. They need to trade.
Who?
The Wizards.
Everybody's a piece away. They're a piece away from being a piece away. How about that?
Nah, they're one piece away.
Well, okay.
And Anthony Davis makes them an NBA team.
Anthony Davis makes a lot of teams better. So that's
DeMarcus Cousins does
makes them better. Yeah. DeMarcus Cousins makes them better. It makes everybody better.
Playing with John Wall would be a big deal.
You know who else would be? DeMarcus Cousins would be great in Los Angeles. DeMarcus Cousins would be great in Orlando.
Yeah, but he going to Los Angeles don't make the Lakers anything other than the Lakers.
I disagree with that, but Cousins. I'm completely out on the Wizards. Are you still holding hope on the Wizards?
Absolutely.
Right now, on the record, give me a season prediction for the Wizards. Exactly.
52 wins.
Exact. 52 wins.
52 wins.
How many wins did they have last year? I think 49, 49-ish. So 3 more wins.
3 more wins.
Wow. Way to jump out on a limb. We'll be right back with the NBA Files.
This isn't Madison Square Garden. These drills probably won't make anyone a #1 draft pick. But these players are practicing for something important. While they work on their jump shots, they're also learning teamwork, discipline, self-confidence, how to deal with wins and losses. Skills that will make them winners long after they leave the court. Support high school activities in your community, because when kids take part, they get set for life.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the NBA Files. I'm Everett Terry with Kwame Fisher-Jones. So, as we're moving along, one of the guys who's really been surprising, and I guess he kind of had to be, Kyrie Irving.
Has he been surprising for you?
Well, I knew what he was in terms of a scorer, but in terms of a leader, because we didn't see it when he was in Cleveland before LeBron. We didn't really see it when LeBron was there, because clearly LeBron was the leader. But now we're seeing a different Kyrie, and maybe he's evolved now that he's got the championship under his belt, he's got the moxie, people respect it. Is he an MVP candidate?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think Brad Stevens is a Coach of the Year candidate.
Agreed.
I saw a tweet from Bobby Marks, NBA insider, 10 new faces on the Celtics.
Sounds about right.
7 game winning streak.
Big win versus OKC last
Well,
night.
all their wins have been good wins. They've been focused. They never lose their cool. They're poised. Kyrie, I think, was like 9 for 22. He's not shooting any better. He's making good decisions with the basketball, but his defense and his effort and his overall posture, his demeanor, he looks engaged, if that makes sense, and not to be too overanalytical. One of the things about Kyrie, I've been very hard on Kyrie the player. I have no qualms with Kyrie the person. I don't know Kyrie the person, but from all accounts, he's a good young man. I think he's great for the NBA. He doesn't get in any trouble. He provides a different dynamic to African-American players. He's very analytical. So I have no problem with him, the person. I never bought into him as a Cleveland Cavalier because of LeBron brings a completely different dynamic. I don't know if that's why Kyrie wanted out. You've never heard us say on this show he wanted to be the man. In fact, when you talked about that, I said, what if he didn't want to be the man? What if he just wanted to play basketball? That's what I'm getting right now from Kyrie. Look, if the Celtics win the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, which is a big if, surviving the Gordon Hayward injury, Al Horford looks like he's turned back the hands of time.
Like 5 or 6 years.
Playing with 2 first-year players, and obviously Jaylen Brown's not a first-year player on paper, but he's definitely a guy that's starting. I would say not only is he the MVP candidate, he's the favorite to win it. I would put him I would say it's Ben Simmons should be in that conversation.
Agreed.
Definitely should be in that conversation.
Giannis for sure.
Giannis has tapered down a lot. And you want to keep in mind, there's holes in Giannis's game. I can't look at Kyrie and say there's a hole in Kyrie's game right now, this year. Can you?
Defense.
He's been a good defensive player. He's been a really good defensive player. This year. I would definitely say he's been a good defensive player. And I'll throw another name out there that could possibly be considered because their team is playing well is Oladipo, but I don't believe any of them are legit MVP candidates outside of Kyrie. I think Kyrie is the favorite to win the award right now, which says a lot. Kevin Durant's not going to take. Steph Curry's throwing mouthpieces at people, so we're not going to see it go to him. There may even be a backlash against Steph Curry. I would say all in all, I would definitely say Kyrie's the favorite to win the award. I'd be shocked if he keeps this pace up and he's not doing anything outside of himself. He keeps his pace up and his team continues to win, go on multiple 10, 11-game winning streaks. Yeah, he's going to win the award, which says a lot for him. If the bigger question is, if they do win the award, is he vindicated for leaving Cleveland?
I think if he wins the award and Boston has team success, and when I say
define team success,
they either get past the Cavaliers or meet them and give them a good series in the conference finals. It's the only way to.
The award is a regular season. Well, first of all, they're not getting past the Cavaliers. I don't think they get out of the first round of the playoffs, but it's a regular season award.
I understand that, but we're not going to act like postseason success has zero impact on it. It usually
does.
It
does.
And that's why they give it out at the end of the year, not at the end of the regular season before the playoffs.
Well, there have been players. Dirk Nowitzki won it after losing the first round. Russell Westbrook last year.
Well, it was him and Harden.
I would think the vindication would come in the fact that Kyrie is. No one was rooting for him. That wasn't an Irving. You know what I mean?
Certain guys
Who?
understood it.
Who? Give me a name. Just give one name.
Damian Lillard. He understood why he did it.
I gotta look that up because
Dame Dollar had no problem with it. Kevin Durant also said he understood it.
Well, I thought Kevin Durant was critical of him. I didn't see anybody rooting for Kyrie. Like some people said, sometimes you want to be the man, but he didn't want to be. That wasn't why he left. From what I understand, that wasn't why he left. He wanted to be the man. But the bigger thing is you want to leave LeBron. You want to leave LeBron. Who wants to leave LeBron? That's a bad decision. If he leaves LeBron, gets the number one seed, and plays well, yeah, he's definitely the number one seed, and I think that vindicates him because there was no one in his corner. It wasn't like Kevin Durant where it was a big deal and he chose them. He wanted to trade and wound up landing on his feet. That very rarely happens after a high-profile breakout.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to just wait and see.
Either way, see, you can see it now. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now that that's how that's going to play out. They continue to win, he'll win the MVP because there's no one's rooting for the Golden State Warriors.
And with that, from one guy from a potential MVP to another guy who looks like he may be comeback player of the year.
It.
Hey, between him and Dwight Howard, comeback player of the year. Kristaps Porzingis, KP, Zingas Pingus. Listen, should the Knicks be concerned about losing Kristaps after his brother says that the contract extension isn't guaranteed? First of all, he's playing really good basketball right now. I think he just set some sort of a record for most games with 30 points per in the first couple games of the season. That's wonderful. And the Knicks are winning. Doug McDermott just threw down an under-the-rim dunk on somebody like 2 days ago.
Say it again, because I don't believe it. Say it again. That's like Santa Claus exists and the Easter Bunny is alive.
What I saw. I saw the clip many times. He dunked on somebody. Oh, Josh Jackson when they played Phoenix. That's who it was. Yeah. Mr. Josh Jackson.
I got to see it. Did that really happen?
McDermott. Facts. Hey, listen, producer, make sure you cue that up. Listen, Doug McDermott definitely dunked on Josh Jackson under the rim. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But anyway, the point I'm making is,
no.
Do you think that the Knicks should be concerned?
No.
Why?
Let him go. Let him go. Because if he's like this now, what's he going to be like when you're winning? If he's like this now,
they are winning. They're right at 500. They're around 500.
500. They haven't played 10 games yet. Look, if he's like this now and things are going pretty well and they're flying under the radar, what's he going to do when the pressure mounts? No, this dude has been a pain in the from the moment he's come there.
Talented, man.
And so what? So is a stripper.
So
Strippers are great dancers. Are you hiring them to be in anything reputable? No. You go by and you enjoy them in their realm. He's in a dysfunctional realm. He is the rose that came from the concrete. Great. Now I want a rose bush. I'm fine with letting Kristaps walk. And in fact, if I hear again any type of negativity from anyone in his camp, I'm on line 9 trying to get a trade for the dude. Because I don't think you're winning anything when he hasn't been an all-star. He's not leading the Knicks anywhere. And if he wasn't a European player, and I hate using ifs, woulds, and coulds, but should he have not been a European player, if he was a regular dude from Duke or UNLV or one of those schools, he'd be annoying to everybody. He'd be an agitator. But because he's a European player and he's got a nice little accent and he's better than what people thought, they're giving him credit. I think he's a solid player, but I'm not impressed by him enough to warrant the dysfunction that comes out of he and his camp.
So you don't care either way what the Knicks do with him?
Not only do I not care, I encourage them to move on. And I loathe James Dolan. But I encourage them to at least, look, if you're the Knicks and you can get Anthony Davis for Kristaps, you say, no, you don't make that trade, I'd consider. If you can get Nurkic for him.
Now, that might have sort of almost made sense, except Nurkic is playing so mediocre this year.
Okay.
You need more to get him in Portland.
The thing I'm saying is, if you can get a good quality young talent, I think the Knicks will make the deal, and they should. If he's this good, why haven't they won? Seriously, if he's this good, why haven't they won? Exactly. You have to think about it. If he's that good, 38 points, all this stuff.
Get hurt.
Yeah, but it's easy to win when there's no pressure.
And they had Melo sucking up all the possessions.
But Melo had multiple 50-win seasons in Denver before he got to New York. And they had been to the playoffs with Amari one-leg Stoudemire. So they had success. All of a sudden, Kristaps comes in, expectations, nothing. When did he play at his best? when no one knew who he was.
That's true.
Now that you're expecting from him, what do you get? Nothing.
Okay.
But now that, when it's all gone and he can just come out and play, look, pressure busts pipes.
That's true.
And you like to say it makes diamonds,
It
but
can also make a diamond.
But it can also bust a pipe.
Okay.
And to me, he's a combustible pipe. He's not a diamond. That's my personal opinion on it. And look, you like to say we'll see. I don't think we'll see. It's obvious to everybody in there if you're not a Knicks fan. Don't look at me like I owe you money.
I mean, listen.
You're a Lakers fan. You shouldn't be buying into that.
Listen, at the end of the day, I like Kristaps. I like his game. I like how he's getting better. The Knicks should be concerned about it just because the NBA is so unpredictable in terms of movement and where guys go and where guys end up. I think that now that, Phil Jackson's out, Melo's going, it's his team, maybe they revolve the team around him and do it the right way.
Let me throw this at you. You're an Anthony Wiggins fan, right? Andrew Wiggins fan, right?
I like Wiggins.
Would you take Wiggins over Porzingis?
No.
All right. Right now, would you put those same expectations on Porzingis, on Wiggins, that you have? Let me phrase that. Let me phrase that differently. Would you put the same expectations that you had for the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? And you remove Andrew Wiggins and you add Kristaps Porzingis on that roster. Would you have the very same expectations? No other changes, just Porzingis for Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
You would have those very same expectations.
Because Porzingis and Towns could probably complement each other better. The only thing you're really losing by having Zingis there instead of Wiggins is a perimeter guy who can kind of defend.
And that's
but
my
you got
point.
Jimmy Butler and Jeff Teague for that.
That's my point. If Porzingis is so good, and if Andrew Wiggins is so good, they should have more impact on team wins, and they don't. And and I'm transitioning to the next point or the next question, but I want to close the door on Porzingis. For all that comes out, for a guy that we spend so much time talking about, he reminds me a lot of Derek Coleman. Not as far as the player, but as far as the lack of impact for all that talent. All this greatness that he boasts, you're not getting anything in the wins and losses. We're just talking about James Dolan pushing people.
That's fair.
You fast forward to the Minnesota Timberwolves at 5-3. I think they're better than their record indicates. They're better than I thought they would have been at this point. I thought they would be a 3-5 team, a 2-6 team. I didn't think they would be 5-3. Do you think they're better or worse than where they are?
I think they're right around where they are expected to be based on what I thought of them.
You picked them to be a top 4 seed in the Western Conference.
No.
Top 4 or top 5?
Top 5.
I'm sorry. So you picked them to be top 5. Pardon me for the slip up there.
I did. I picked them to be top 5, and they're right around where they should be.
I don't believe they're built to last.
They've beaten OKC twice.
What does that mean? What does that mean in the grand scheme of things, other than the fact that I'm an OKC fan? So that's just a dig at me. I don't think they're built to last. But I will say this: Andrew Wiggins has been a better offensive player this year than he's been in years past.
Okay.
I believe his turnovers are down some. He looks much more comfortable, much more confident. I've never been a Jimmy Butler fan. I think.
See, I like Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, but what does Jimmy Butler give you? I mean, just take a minute and gander that for a second. He's great for Jimmy Butler, but is he great for his team? Is he going to transition his team into where? Is he going to transition his team to the next? Are you going to go somewhere? Is he a guy that you can build a team around? No. He's a solid, but he's tuna fish. He's tuna fish. I use that example in the production. He's tuna fish. If you're hungry, you don't want tuna fish, but you'll take it.
Man.
It's not going to move the needle, but if it's all you got, you'll eat it. That's my Chris Rock was, you'll eat it. But he's like tuna fish. If Jimmy Butler's the best you got on your team, you'll take him, but he's not building a team around him in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So I think that 5-3, and I wrote this question down because I know you've been singing their praises since the offseason. I'm still standing pat on my barely is making the playoffs, if they make it. They'll sneak in because there'll be a major injury to somebody. Not wishing major injury, but there may be a major injury to somebody. Like I can't see it. I can't see that turning into a monster team, and I don't see a 5 seed there when I watch them play. When you watch them play, do you see a 5 seed?
Depends on who they play. If it's OKC, then yes.
If it depends on who they play, then that's not a 5 seed. If it depends on who they play, then it's not a 5 seed. We're going to be right back on the NBA Files. We'll bring you more. We're going to talk about Ben Simmons, and we're definitely going to talk about the Lakers with Lonzo Ball. The NBA Files, Everett Terry Jr., Kwame Fisher-Jones. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the NBA Files, everybody. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. Everett Terry Jr. I had to put some water on his face. I was beating him to death. That's exactly what happened. I was losing him. He was like, he was in the corner getting the stuffing beat out of him. Absolutely. All right, speaking of stuffing beat out of you.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons. Now, full disclosure.
How'd you segue that?
You just do it. I mean, that's how you sell a segue. It doesn't. But if you sell a segue, you say, speaking of cars with no tires, Ben Simmons. And the first thing you say, how does that fit? But I've already transitioned to the topic, so it doesn't have to fit. Come on, man. It's TV 101. Watch, I'll do another one. Speaking of lights with no bulbs, Ben Simmons. That's just how you just sell it that way. So Ben Simmons. Full disclosure, I was big on Ben Simmons. I had an opportunity to watch him play a lot in college. He was one of the few players who was hampered by his team's inability, his coach's inability to win games, but he still mustered up 19 wins. And I want to see him in the high post. I do. I don't think he's a point guard, but
his handle was crazy.
It's okay. It's okay. But I want to ask you a question. Has he exceeded your expectations? Because you've been ho-hum on him up until this point.
His triple-doubles and, listen, he's playing very good basketball.
Confidence levels are high.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm almost mad that I didn't take him with my third pick in fantasy. He was there on the board and didn't take him.
It always comes back to fantasy.
Listen, I'm just telling you, the kid is, he's doing big things, and the bigger thing is the Sixers are winning. When's the last time Sixers had a 3-game win streak that wasn't hinged around Embiid?
They've had some. Well,
there you go. Because
the
when
thing
they won
about
3,
Embiid,
they had Embiid last year.
We get a lot of backlash here. Let me clarify for both of us here. It's not that we don't like Embiid. It's that we believe he's unreliable.
Agree.
You know what I mean? He's talented. It's not if he can play. It's when he's going to get hurt. That's all.
When he's available to
play. His availability is his biggest hamper, but we think he's a fantastic player.
Absolutely.
I was on record as saying it went last season when the season started, and New Video Productions can confirm this for me. I said, if healthy, Joel Embiid's winning the Rookie of the Year trophy, hands down. So, we don't hate Embiid.
No.
Ben Simmons is different, though. He's clean. Ben Simmons is special. He's at a different speed. He shines different. He's platinum in a room full of white gold.
Everybody look bad that tries to defend him. He can get to the rack anytime he wants to. He can dunk on you when he wants to. He has, you know what? The biggest thing about him that has surprised me.
Jump shot. Here we go.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't even going there. His passing. I knew he was a good passer, but I actually watched the game last night. And those passes were on the dime.
You never got to reach. They never got to reach.
Oh, my God. The vision is just it's there. The ball's on its way. And Rocco just standing there ready to shoot.
And there's no coincidence that
ready to shoot.
They're shooting the highest percentage of their career. I want to throw this at you.
Because he draws the defense in.
I'm going to throw this at you, and you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to tell you this. As great as a passer he is, he's a better rebounder. Okay. It's a travesty that he's so far away. I'm telling you, he would average 19 points, easily 16, 17 rebounds if he played a high post.
That wear and tear, him jumping up and down.
It's more wear and tear for him to play point guard, but he's defended at a high level. He's defended at an exceptional level. Moves feet. Actually, he put on a clinic last night on how to defend a guard because you never saw him reach. He just moves his feet. He's got great anticipation, high basketball IQ. But he hasn't exceeded expectations for me because I expected him to be here.
Okay.
This is where I want Ben Simmons and his father to be instrumental in this offseason. They can't allow another Markelle Fultz situation to happen. And that's not a diss on Fultz because the young man needs as much love as possible right now because he's getting ripped and he shouldn't be. He's too young in his basketball career for people to be questioning him and being so down on him. He was a bad pick for the Sixers. From a business point of view, I said he was a bad pick for the Sixers. He didn't fit. But just as a man-to-man, as a young man, I'm hoping that this comes back together for him because he looks a shell of himself. Okay. But they need to be vocal in the guys that they bring in. They need to say, we want this guy. They need to be sitting in BC's office, Brian Colangelo, and saying to him, this is a good fit. Put your analytics. We don't want to see your analytics numbers. This is the dude we want. Seriously. Because too much of this is being done on numbers. You need to know this guy can play with me.
J.J. Redick fits.
Jonathan Simmons would have been a better player. J.J. Redick's a better shooter. And another thing Ben Simmons is doing, he's putting an end to this jump shot propaganda that's out there.
I'm going to hit you with something. To be 100% honest with you, they could have got both of them if they don't give J.J. Redick $1 billion.
Well, they had to overpay to get him there. Redick won't never admit that, but the man lives in New York, doesn't live in Philly. Think about that. He commutes to Philadelphia for practice. He commutes to Philadelphia for games. He commutes to Philadelphia for events.
He don't want to live here.
He don't want to be here.
It's only 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year, $1 skillion. Yeah, they probably needed to overpay for somebody, but having Simmons there. But this is the next step in the progression for him. He's special. They finally got it right. And they may have gotten it right by accident, but they finally got it right. Whether it was luck or preparation, they finally got it right.
Is right twice a day. I mean,
that's funny. People always use that analogy, and for years I could never understand it. And I was like, oh, because it's an AM, PM, and L. I guess. But yeah, it flew over my head. But the point, the moral of the story is, whether it be luck or preparation, they finally got it right.
Yeah.
Now, what are you prepared to do? Don't tell me what you're going to do. Don't tell me what can happen. What are you prepared to do? Because now Ben Simmons needs to take that mantle. LeBron is instrumental in who they bring in. Andrew Wiggins is a Timberwolf. Because LeBron James wanted a more chiseled veteran. So if you want to be the next, be the first, and be the first to take that mantle. Now, from the positive to the negative, that hurts, doesn't it? It hurts because he can play. Jahlil Okafor.
He can play offense, yeah.
Part of the game. Jahlil Okafor. How bad did they butcher this Jahlil Okafor situation?
I mean, how bad are they still butchering it? I mean, it's like he's on the operating table and they're still cutting him open. It's like they cannot figure this thing out. Listen, just trade the kid.
They can't.
Let him.
They can't
go.
The story.
They just picked up his option. Like,
no, how much of it is Jahlil saying he doesn't want to go here? How much of it is team saying, well, he doesn't want to he's not going to re-up with us? How much of it is Jahlil sat there and wasted his years?
He don't got the grounds to say where he wants to and doesn't want to play.
Yeah, he can, because if you're trading for a guy that's not under contract next year, you're giving up for him. Unless you're giving up cash, and even then, why am I giving you anything for a shirt you're going to throw away? Why am I going into your store paying full price when it's going to go on sale in 15 minutes? There's no benefit for a team to go to the Sixers and say, we want this. They butchered it because when Colangelo walked in the door, he should have traded everybody not named Ben Simmons. Period. He should have had a fire sale. Instead of trying to turn a profit, he should have just turned the page.
Okay.
He should have traded everybody. The moment you brought Jahlil Okafor back into the fold, the moment you brought Nerlens Noel back into the fold, the moment you brought any player in there that wasn't in your future, you killed their value. You killed their value. And now you're sitting back saying, we won a second round. Why am I giving you anything for him? He's not going to re-sign with you.
Yeah.
If you trade him to Orlando, he's not going to. The rumor is it's the Spurs and the Cavs are the highest on his list.
Yeah.
Coming from his camp.
What's the likelihood is with either of them? Not very high.
Well, if
Spurs have nothing to offer for him.
Well, no, the Spurs got a couple unprotected or undrafted players. They've got a couple guards. I don't have their names in front of me, which I probably should, but they've got a couple players they can grind up and make an offer. But if you're the Sixers, it's both two sizes. If you're the Sixers, what do you want? Because you're not going to walk away clean.
Right. You're going to walk away taking a little of a loss.
Well, you're going to walk away being held accountable for the bad pick that you had. So what do you want? What is the end game? I use this phrase a lot. What is the end game if you're the Sixers? He's going to go somewhere and become an all-star. That's going to happen.
I think they probably gotten offers from him. They just don't like the teams they'd be sending them to.
They
don't want to send them to a team that they're going to have to see multiple times a year. They probably want to send him to the West, some team where he'll get buried, like a Sacramento that, they'll see twice a year and that'd be the end of it. I think he's gotten offers for teams in the East, and they don't want to trade him to any team that they'll see multiple times a year because they don't want to deal with it. They know they botched it. He knows they botched it. I think all they can do at this point is try to find the best Western Conference fit for him.
When I think of Jahlil, I think of Michael Carter-Williams and Nerlens Noel.
Wow.
And question for you. And I want you to give me your honest opinion here. No Sixer hate, no Laker love.
Okay.
Just your honest opinion. Those three players, was it the players were bad? Were they bad picks? Or they just never were developed?
I don't think they were bad picks because, if I'm correct, all of them are in the NBA, so they weren't bad picks. They can all play. I think there were bad picks for the Sixers that weren't properly developed. I think for what you got out of Michael Carter-Williams, he's the only one who we say, okay, he is who we thought he was. He's not going to ever be much more than a poor man's slow version of Rajon Rondo minus the skill, which is a mouthful, but that's what he is. Nerlens Noel.
It really is.
Nerlens Noel, I think, could have been a much more developed and evolved player overall.
I heard athletic Dikembe Mutombo from some people. I disagree with that.
I think if you gave him some sort of a one or two move post game where he could have been more effective on the block, where they could have trusted him with the ball, he would have been more of an offensive juggernaut, a Sam Dalembert type. Not good, not great, but good. A guy that can get you 10 and 10.
Did you just say Sam Dalembert?
Sam Dalembert.
Yeah, I got to move on that point.
Listen, Sam Dalembert was not a great NBA player.
What?
He was a good NBA player.
You know
he
they
was
took
a shot
Sam
blocker.
Dalembert over?
He was a shot blocker who gave you about 8 to 10 points a game, double-digit rebounds, and about 2 or 3 blocks. That's what Nerlens Noel is, just a younger version.
I believe they took Sam Dalembert over Jamal Tinsley and Tony Parker. I believe that was that draft.
Well, nobody saw that
Then what?
Tony Parker was going to be Tony Parker.
Why am I paying my scouts 60 plus grand a year?
Where did Tony Parker go in the draft? Because he wasn't a top 10 pick.
No, he wasn't top 10 pick. He was
went
last
bottom
pick.
team,
He was the last
right.
pick of the first round by an organization that invests a lot in their scouting
But the
department.
point I'm making is the other 30 teams passed on him too.
That doesn't mean anything to me. 3 teams passed on Michael Jordan. I mean, it's not always clear cut. Look, and it's a little bit of both. The bottom line is the thing that rocks me to the core, irks my soul, is that and I wrote it down, the greatest trick Hinkie ever pulled was convincing Sixer fans that these 3 guys never happened. That the process.
I don't think that he convinced them that they didn't happen. I think what he did is he told them that they were necessary for the process to continue to build and grow. They were casualties of war.
And, well, you know what? That's a great phrase. They should have stood up for themselves. They took Jalil because he was the least vocal of the players that didn't want to be here. And in the end, it cost him probably some productive years in his career. He managed to not get anywhere until on the tire, but, that works out. When we get back, we're going to talk about one more dysfunctional rookie, Lonzo Ball, and we're going to wrap the show up with a interesting question regarding Charles Barkley. We'll be back more NBA 5.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you, or your families, asking you to put yourself in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Welcome back to the NBA Files. Everett Terry.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Come on.
All right, I'm gonna tell everybody why that's so funny to me. Lonzo Ball is probably the driest player on the NBA team right now. He lacks absolutely no aggression. And you are a #1 Lakers fan. So when you knew we were going into Lonzo Ball, you just had to put a little angst, a little enthusiasm.
Of course. I like talking Lonzo.
All right, Lonzo Ball. What's going on with Lonzo Ball? My man Lonzo Ball.
I can't explain why he scored 0 the other night. I don't know.
That's unacceptable, Everett.
That's
unacceptable. In 28 minutes of action.
You were the guy who sat there and screamed, oh, but look at all his assists. And I'm sitting there thinking he's got to put the ball in the hoop. He's not paid to be a passer. He's paid
to be a passer.
You know
what's really funny about this? Homeboy had the highest plus minus on the team at 0 points. That tells you how whack analytics can be sometimes. He had the highest plus minus on anybody on the court in that game against Portland, where he had 0 points. So more than Damian Lillard, who's seen 1, more than Kyle Kuzma, more than all those players, he had the highest plus minus. I think Lonzo Ball needs 2 things. First, this is why his father runs his mouth so much. He sees a son that has so much talent, and he doesn't have the aggression necessary to deliver. So he tries to give him that, tries to push his son, tries to give him a mouth to go with all that talent. The second thing is, this is why NBA veterans are important. Right. This is why Doug Overton was so instrumental into the maturation of one Allen Iverson.
This is Eric Snow, but go ahead.
No, this is why Brian Shaw was so important to Kobe Bryant's maturation process. You have to have a vet who can take a rookie under their wing and allow them to come over to their house and eat dinner instead of going out some nights. Sit back and kind of rap to them about life that they can sit with and learn from and be a part of. Lonzo doesn't have that. And right now, he needs that more than everybody. And I haven't heard Magic in the news a lot.
No.
He's had some comments, but not much. I wonder if he's trying to play that role, but Lonzo needs somebody there every day because you're wasting a time. It's getting dark.
Well,
it's getting dark. You can't. He was 3 for 15 last night.
yeah, he can't shoot. I don't know what else to tell you.
But it's not just so much shooting, it's the fact that he hasn't found a rhythm. And he's a natural rhythm player. And for the people who don't understand what that means is there's a pace that a quarterback plays at. There's a pace that an NBA point guard moves at that allows them. Jason Kidd's pace was a transitional pace. It was phonetic. You know, you look at Gary Payton's pace, it was methodical. Lonzo Ball's pace is somewhere in between there, and it's not getting done. We're seeing him walking the ball up the court. Mm-hmm. You know, we're seeing him, his shot. When he played at UCLA, his shot was funky. He shot it from the air, but he's developed this thing now where he's always fading left. For every shot he's shooting, he's fading left a little bit. He's leaning left. Maybe it's to get it off. I don't know what it is. Something smells a foul, and it's gonna get dark really soon. 3 for 15 off after an 0 for 9 game.
Right.
As a Lakers fan, I mean, you tell me they're 4 and 5. So record-wise, they're not doing bad.
Yeah, they're around.
But are you concerned about what you're seeing from a prize rookie, transcendent talent?
I'm concerned more so with the fact that the Lakers, if he shot a little bit better, could easily be, 6-3. And how much of his lack of ability to score is going to impact him in close games because teams are going to start giving him the Rajon Rondo treatment. We'll let you stand back and take all the jumpers you want, and we'll just defend everybody else. That's what they were doing with him his last few years in Boston because they recognize that, you know what? This guy is more of a threat to us when he's getting the ball out of his hand and putting guys in position to make plays, and I think that's how you're going to start to see it.
Quickly, do you think he needs a veteran or somebody to take him under the wing to cover some of those shots?
In LA, he does.
Okay. That's what I think that solves this. I think you get a veteran in there, and you could even bring Earl Watson in.
Somebody's just going to push him.
Not even push him, just talk to the boy. He goes a quarter without scoring. Mm-hmm. He needs someone in his ear to say, you got to get the ball in the hoop. He shouldn't go a game like that. If he goes a quarter 0 for 6, right, he needs someone in there to say, yo, you need to do it this way, you need to do that. And then after the game or at halftime to talk to him. Now, before I let you go.
Yeah.
Hoops Hype had a very interesting question. A very interesting video. And the video posed a question, how good would Charles Barkley be in today's NBA?
Round mound of rebound.
What do you think about that? How good do you think Charles Barkley would be?
Charles was a very, very good player.
He was.
Charles was a bit undersized.
King of the ill-advised 3?
He was a little undersized.
Teammates didn't like him.
Exactly likable. I think social media would have got him in a ton of trouble.
I think social media would have helped him.
No, it wouldn't have. Because he got into a lot of issues with fans and things. And we don't know what a lot of these players, past and present, have said in closed rooms. But Charles Barkley's kind of guy that you could see getting caught on Instagram saying something stupid, getting caught up in some circumstance, some situation, some scenario. In terms of his on the court, I think he'd be able to hold his own. I don't think he would have been as dominant because back then there weren't as many good bigs. Or at least athletic bigs that could give him a problem. He has none of that these days versus what he had back then. So I think his scoring will be okay. I think the pace of the game will bother him because it's a lot faster than what it used to be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how good he could have been. I think he would have been a good player. Hall of Famer at the level that he's at, I don't think so.
I'm going to go against the grain here. I think he'd been a fringe all-star. I think social media would have helped him because they would have allowed him to be relevant. But in today's NBA, he would not be able to cover. He would not have been able to cover. When they say today, I'm thinking of the players that are dominant today. He would not have been able to cover Draymond Green.
You're right.
And the first thing he'll say is, well, Draymond Green wouldn't have been able to cover me. Well, there's not a coach in their right mind that would let Draymond Green drop 17, 20 points on you and allow you to be that half-court dribble back to the basket, blop, blop, blop. You know, it's not a coach in their right mind that's going to let you take an ill-advised shot. The teammates nowadays would roast him for a lot of the things that he got away with back then. He was a bit of a bully. I don't think he would get that off now. And, I mean, Charles Barkley right now is, 6'6"? Well, not right now, but Charles Barkley was 6'6". LeBron James is 6'9".
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Gordon Hayward
slow
is
to guard
6'8".
a guy like LeBron.
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. And who's he going to defend? Centers? Nope, because they can shoot threes too. So right now, the small forwards are. The Scottie Pippen was an anomaly when he played. He's a routine now.
Right.
So I don't think
everybody is.
I think Charles would be a fringe all-star, make a few all-star games, but he would get it handed to him on a daily basis. Like the '92 Dream Team. People always talk about the '92 Dream Team as unbeatable. I've said before the 2000, I think it was the 2000 Dream Team, or no, it was the 2010 Dream. The one with LeBron and Carmelo and Kevin Durant.
The Redeem Team.
Yeah, the Redeem Team. They would have handled the Dream Team easily, because the only thing you had in the Dream Team is Michael Jordan, and that's what's going for you, and that's fine. But you had enough bodies to throw at Mike who could move the way he could move and who would go at him. And as great as Michael Jordan was, he can't cover 5 positions. And you would have had 5 assassins around him. The same thing with Charles Barkley. Who's he covering? Enes Kanter?
That's the point. But that's the point. The fact that, based on his size and where he's at, I don't think that there's a window for guys that he would be good for defensively. Offensively, I think he can still get his own shot, but that defensively is going to
I don't think offensively, because right now, back to the basket game, they phase you out because it's so many shooters. So you'd have to have a coach that would stand there and let you run the shot or shot clock down, then back it out. Remember, the NBA instituted the 5-second rule.
Right.
Because he would sit there, back it up. Nobody wanted to see it.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to see it. So I think we agree here, Charles Barkley, Fringe All-Star. That's it for this episode of NBA Files. Make sure you check us out every Monday at 5 p.m. on Facebook at the NBAfiles.com. I got to get used to saying at the NBA Files. As always, shout out to New Video Productions for providing the 1s and 2s for us, for Everett Terry Jr., Kwame Fisher-Jones. We'll see you next week. Till then, be easy.